Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Don't just throw a tailgate, own the tailgate with a Bojangles Big Bow Box. Because only Bojangles puts tailgate-ready fresh, never frozen, honey barbecue or buffalo bone-in wings with fall-off-the-bone juiciness right in the pocket. The only way to make these wings any better? With some made-from-scratch buttery biscuits, flavorful fixins, and freshly steeped legendary iced tea. So let the quarterback do the throwing, you do the winning. Because how can you expect to win the game if you don't win the tailgate? Bojangles, it's bow time.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. My wife and I sat down with Harlan Mitchell and discussed our own estate planning needs. I know in our experience, Harlan brought up questions that caused us to think about our current situation and what we need to do moving forward. When you sit down with Harlan for your free consultation, you're going to find out things that you may have not thought about when it comes to estate planning. I encourage you to go to BamaEstatePlanning.com or give Harlan Mitchell a call at 256-216-9884 and schedule your free consultation today.
Experience the difference at Athens Bible School. The vision and purpose is to provide each student a quality education in a Christ-centered environment to develop the whole person spiritually, mentally, physically, and socially in safe and supportive surroundings. The solid biblical foundation permeates learning and culture in the classrooms and every extracurricular activity.
On Friday, August 13th, my longtime friend Vicente Ramirez passed away. Although I was unable to make it to Brownsville, Texas to his funeral, I wanted to do something to honor Vicente today, so I'm going back to an interview that I did with Vicente a couple of years ago and wanted to share this with you. I want to send my deepest condolences to the Ramirez family as they grieve the loss of this very special man. This show is dedicated to Vicente Ramirez.
Hey everybody, this is Daryl Worley, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. Hey, step up and make a difference like he does.
This old world is full of hurt and pain. A little sunshine and a whole lot of rain. It don't take much to drive those clouds away. Let's all do something good today. You never know what someone's going through. Don't underestimate what you can do. A friendly smile's a tiny price to pay. Let's all do something good today.
Welcome to another edition of the Mark White Show. I am your host, Mark White, and right now I'm in Brownsville, Texas. I'm with a very dear friend of mine, Vicente Ramirez. Welcome to the Mark White Show, Vicente.
Thank you.
We were talking before we started recording about the work you've done with preachers, carrying them to Alabama, carrying them to Arkansas, visiting with congregations, trying to get support for these men who were preaching the gospel in difficult places.
Right.
What was your reason for trying to help these men?
Well, they need to dedicate himself. They're good men. They are good men that study the Bible and can do a good work in preaching the gospel in their areas. But they don't have any means. They don't have any money to do that. It's been a long time that I have been to Athens, to Tennessee, to Arkansas, and all those places where I took several of them, several years too, to find some support, a little bit or whatever we can get, to help them to dedicate more time in preaching the gospel and teaching the souls. Not just in one place. We've been in several places in Mexico, from Tamaulipas up to Zacatecas, Guadalajara, and we have been over in Campeche also. There's another places that we've been doing it, and we have to travel a lot so we can get there to these places and help them. People, they are in very need of the gospel, and we're trying to help them and help the preachers over there, which sometimes they don't have anything, and they need to eat, they need to buy some needs for themselves, and that's why we went to these places in USA to get some support, whatever we can get. It's been a hard work for several years. I've been here in Brownsville for 50 years. I came to Brownsville in 1961 with my family, and even me, I didn't have any support at all. I had to work cutting palm trees. I need to work and clean them, $35 each, and so I can have the money for me and my family. I thank God that right now we're doing okay. But in Mexico, the preachers dedicate themselves almost all their life. They don't have anything to live for their families. They don't have anything to live for their wife. The wife has to continue working, or depending on how many children they have. But it's hard, very hard. We've been there, and I know them. Several preachers went with me. Also, Brother Headrick, he came to Mexico, and I helped him in going to several places where they help some of the preachers. And I was glad to be with them, and I guess the work that they were doing is great.
People who are listening right now obviously can tell that your native language would be Spanish.
Yes.
And you were born in Mexico. You grew up in Mexico. And as you stated, you brought your family to the United States, to Brownsville, Texas. What made you really a connection between the preachers in Mexico and then members of the church in the United States?
When I was baptized in a city named Raymondville, I was 17 years old. And I at that time, I knew Bill Reeves, and Wayne Bertain, Glenn Rogers. They were preaching in McAllen. And they invited us to go and study with them. We were Brother Ricardo Soto, Joaquin Blenhill, and one other young man from Reynosa, Rodolfo Calderon. We were there, the 3 or 4 of us, and Bill and Wayne and Brother Rogers, they were our teachers. I didn't stay there very much. I went to work in Florida for about 6 or 7 months. And that was good because I had my Social Security working at that time. And I was in need of that very much. We were 4 young people that we were there preaching, and then Brother Wayne helped us to go into cities here in the valley and in Mexico too. We were glad to go into Mexico. I went over there to Mexico after I was about 25 years here in Brownsville. I went to Mexico. I always had my instinct that wanted to go to Mexico and preach over there. So I did for 7 years. I had to cross the river every Sunday and every Wednesday to go over there and preach for the church. And we established there a good church. We had a church building that we built. A brother from Centerville, Tennessee, helped us. He was a very rich man, and he said that he would help us. He loaned the money, and we did pay him back every penny. That was one of my dreams, and I had to come back to Brownsville again because it was very hard to go every Sunday, every Wednesday to Matamoros for 7 years, and I had to come back. But the church was doing very well, and the brother Arturo Rodriguez, a young preacher also, at that time, came to Brownsville and started preaching there. He went to the church where he established in Matamoros, and another preacher came to where I was preaching there. He was doing very good. But not just Matamoros. We saw the need in many places in Mexico. So we had to went there and preach for them. Sometimes it took us about 1 day and 1 night to get to Guadalajara. Brother Jimmy Lane and also Douglas Bain, they went several times with me to preach over in Guadalajara. We didn't dedicate only to Guadalajara. Several places around Guadalajara, we went to preach and help the brethren over there. Jimmy and Douglas Bain and myself, we saw the need to help them, at least go and encourage them with our presence. And they really enjoyed that, and we did too. There's still a lot of work to do. And there's some young men that I know now that are starting to preach. I also got them in mind. But I don't know what to do because I'm not that young to go and make a trip for 10 or 12 hours. So it's pretty hard right now.
I tell you what, Vicente, when we come back, let's talk about maybe the opportunities that are available for people to help these younger preachers. I know that as you talked about, it's hard for you to make that trip now. You're 82 years old. You're not that 50-something-year-old man. When I was an 11-year-old kid coming here to South Texas, so things change, and physical challenges that it takes to go into Mexico and to do the work, we have to have younger people who are willing first to take on that role.
Right.
Let's talk about that when we come back. Folks, we're in Brownsville, Texas right now at the home of Vicente and Lupe Ramirez, great friends of mine for 30 years.
Love this family. Glad I have the opportunity to be here in Brownsville today. I hope you'll stick with us. You're listening to The Mark White Show, and I'm your host, Mark White.
Something good today. A little wink, a pat on the back, a big old hug, a little laugh. We can make a difference. All we have to do is try. Yeah, every day's a chance to change somebody else's life. Let's all do something good today.
Mr. Cecil Batchelor is the one that started this business as Dependable Service Center. And even though now it's Green's Dependable Hardware and we're a True Value store, our tagline is still Your Dependable Service Center. We've tried to keep that alive for all these years. Mr. Batchelor really started a good business. We're really excited to be carrying on a long-standing tradition. It's the oldest retail store in the city of Russellville. We're Green's Dependable Hardware, 15220A Highway 43 in Russellville, Alabama. We're right behind McDonald's or right across the street from the hospital. Number is 256-331-0123.
Your Dependable Service Center.
Do you look at your home or business and wonder what you can do when it comes to landscapes or hardscapes? Get in touch with my friends at JJ Brothers Hardscapes and Landscapes. Licensed, bonded, and insured, JJ Brothers Hardscapes and Landscapes offers new sod, irrigation, new flower beds, new mulch, blocks, stone, retaining walls, patios, and outdoor kitchens. Give JJ a call at 256-497-8263 or email at jjhardscapes@gmail.com. Now offering pool remodeling and new installs. That's JJ Brothers Hardscapes and Landscapes. Located in Tuscumbia, Alabama, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame honors Alabama's music achievers. You can even go into the recording studio and try out your talents as a singer. That's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, located at 617 Highway 72 West in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call at 256-381-4417. Check them out on the web at alamhof.org. Thompson Roofing and Construction is a locally owned family business serving the North Alabama and Southern Tennessee area. They are a Better Business Bureau A+ member since 2011 and a GAF Master Elite Contractor. Give them a call at 256-952-3309 or check them out on the web at 256roofing.com. They offer free inspections.
Thompson Roofing and Construction.
Is it time for a haircut? Go see my friends Philip Butler and B.H. Parker at Southwind Barbershop, located at 1637 Lee Street in Rogersville, Alabama. Give them a call at 256-247-5658. That's 256-247-5658.
Yay, after all this time, you're always on my mind.
Hi, this is Rodney Crowell, and you're listening to The Mark White Show, where making the difference in other people's life begins, and we all get on board and give it the best we can.
I still love you. To the city, works extra hard all day, finishes up early so he can get away, 'cause there's a blue-eyed kid on second base, wants dad to watch him play. Daddy knows.
And we're back. You're listening to The Mark White Show. I am your host, Mark White, and we are in Brownsville, Texas right now at the home of Vicente and Lupe Ramirez. It was a great relationship that my grandfather, Len Headrick, had with Vicente. They were great friends. I was influenced by Vicente growing up as a kid. Looked at him, like I told him the other night, like a father figure. The amount of respect I have for Vicente and the work that he's done throughout the years. And one of the reasons I wanted him to come on the program is because Vicente has preached the gospel for these many years, but at the same time, he's dedicated a lot of his time to helping other preachers who needed support and going out to various locations, sometimes great distances away from their home, to try to find support for these preachers. We're talking about a work that's gone on for 50 years in Vicente's life, and he's 82 years old, and he still gets around fine. We went to South Padre Island to the beach, got to put our feet in the sand, but at the same time, there's another generation that has to step up and take on the role. I wanted to share in this show, I believe that the example that you've set, Vicente, can influence and encourage other people to step into the role that you have, especially people who can speak both languages, right, English and Spanish, and make that connection. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on now in Mexico and the current need for some of these younger preachers.
I'm not in very good health right now, but I can still walk and still preach and still do whatever I need to do. Here in Brownsville, we have every month we have one Saturday that we go out house to house to work with them. You heard this brother Sunday night that preached for us. He's a good preacher, but the only thing is he's a teacher. Two things at the same time. I know some young people that they're starting to do the work. The only thing is also that they need money to travel, and money is what they don't have. Yes, they can pick up in the collections every Sunday. They pick up some money, but people in Mexico are poor people, and the poor people are the ones that get near to the church to learn, and they don't put enough money to give money to the church, and that's one of the problems. I wish I could have the ability now, and I'll be glad. I'm still can move. I still can move and do something, but I need to get a little bit more health than what I got now, and go out and try to get some help for them so they can travel, they can go some different places. And to do that, they need some extra money.
One of the examples of that we talked about was a preacher in Mexico that $50 a month helps to pay the rent for the church building for a place of worship.
This brother, he was operated this month from his eyes, but he's doing well. He called me last week, and he said, "I'm doing well." But the thing is that he doesn't have enough money to travel to this place. It's from Guadalajara to another place about maybe 70 miles or 75 miles. He has to go by bus. From there, he has to get some money for travel, and he has some money also to pay the rent. We did help him with $200 lately, and so they can put a toilet in there. But still, he has to get some money to pay the rent. And we're going to help him with $50 too. But we need another $50 to cover whatever he needs.
It's easier if one person says, I can contribute $25. I can contribute $10. I can contribute $50. One person doesn't have to take on the whole amount.
Right. $50 is not very much, but he has to have those $50 to coming in every month. Going some places in Guadalajara, we visit near Lago Chapala. It's a big lake in Mexico. It's very famous. We went with Brother Jimmy Lane and Brother Rogelio and myself. We went to this place, and we made a big family. And the father, after we talked to him quite some time, and then Brother Rogelio came and also started talking to him a lot, and his whole family, where his father obeyed the gospel. And he was already preaching. He didn't have enough time, but he was already preaching. But one night that he was starting his lesson, he had a heart attack and passed away. Now I know now that his wife already obeyed the gospel. His son and his daughter-in-law, they still need to be taught again so they can obey the gospel. They're pretty interested. They like to hear. And I'm sure that pretty soon they obey the gospel. And then we turn back from that place to another one in which we've been already several times. We've been there preaching. That place, if the people like this man, this brother that started the work over there, he sells some shoes. He's the owner of the store. He doesn't have to have any money, but he's interested in preaching, and he had pretty good brains.
One of the things that you mentioned, you were talking about the preacher that needed help with the rent, that you could send pictures and you could send this information. That's one of the things that's been very important with you, is being that connection so that when people do send their money, that they can trust that it's being used in the right way.
Mm-hmm. Well, like Brother Jimmy Lane, we're good friends, and he can trust me in everything. He sends the checks in my name in order for me to change it here in the bank, and I send it to them into their places. So I just go into the Walmart, put the information there, so they send it to the place where he lives, and they get their money. But I don't get anything.
Well, and that was a big reason why I wanted to share what you've done, because you've done this because you have a deep concern for these brothers and sisters. You have a love for the gospel and want it to be spread.
I know them pretty well. Both of them, Rogelio Reynoso, he's a good preacher. And then Arturo Rodriguez, he's in Zacatecas, and in a place named Valle Nuevo something. But they're both my friends, and we've been in their houses, and we've been preaching in those two places. And so I trust them. I know who they are. I know they're faithful preachers.
Vicente, I want to say thank you for your good work over the years. I appreciate the opportunity I had because of my granddad to get to know you and the part that you've played in my life for the past 30 years. It's been important to me, and the friendship that we have, the love that we have. Love your family. Appreciate the work and dedication that you've had to the gospel.
It's mutual. And I was real afortunado to meet your granddad. He was a great man and a great Christian, and always we feel that we did the work that we wanted to do.
Well, and of course he would have done a lot more.
Oh, yes.
If cancer hadn't have taken him, but his time came and he did what he could in his life, and I believe he lived a full life, even to 69 years old, to do as much as he could, and he loved Texas. He loved everything Texas, and he loved the Mexican work. Right. He enjoyed being a part of that. He enjoyed speaking Spanish. He learned how to do that working in the cotton gin, and he loved to be able to use that Spanish to teach and to help start groups and let them know that somebody cared.
Right.
And we've talked plenty about Johnny Richardson during the days that I've been here, and Johnny, same way, Russellville, Alabama, he passed away here recently, and Johnny Richardson played an important role in being a connection between people in the States and people who came to the United States and those that were affiliated with the Mexican work.
And he wanted to start the work in Spanish there at Russellville. And we went, Brother Lynn Headrick and myself and Raul, we went to work with Brother Lynn Headrick and tried to teach people, Mexican people or Latin people. And we did find some. And he had already some, Brother Lynn had already were teaching some family there in Russellville.
I know that was a good opportunity for Granddaddy to feel like he was helping in that work from where he was in Alabama. Johnny Richardson in the same way, showing that they cared about those people in their community.
I was always very glad to help in Mexico, here in Brownsville, 50 years old. And we helped to establish 2 more churches that came from the work we were doing, I'm doing in Brownsville.
Thank you again, Vicente, for being here on the Mark White Show today.
Thank you for having me.
Who live and love in my hometown. These are my kind of people.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Don't just throw a tailgate, own the tailgate with a Bojangles Big Bow Box. Because only Bojangles puts tailgate-ready fresh, never frozen, honey barbecue or buffalo bone-in wings with fall-off-the-bone juiciness right in the pocket. The only way to make these wings any better? With some made-from-scratch buttery biscuits, flavorful fixins, and freshly steeped legendary iced tea. So let the quarterback do the throwing, you do the winning. Because how can you expect to win the game if you don't win the tailgate? Bojangles, it's bow time.
You hear me, people, when I say, well, let's all do something good today.